Please read the disclaimer. President Trump just put a new tariff that could be bad for XRP. I'll explain in just a second. Plus, a new partnership for Ripple that could be good for XRP. I try to give you people the good, the bad, and the ugly, my friends. So I really hope that you appreciate it. And all I ask from you is that you give me a beautiful smile to send out those good vibes. Smishity smash that like button and let's get into it. So currently XRP is sitting at $1.88. XRP is down 1% on the day. XRP is moving with the rest of the crypto market here. We have XRP. If we look relevant, Ethereum is down almost 1%, Bitcoin 0.63% at 87,790. Solana about 0.5% as well. If we look at the bubbles, you can see that it's kind of a mixed bag here. Some up, some down. We are one day out of the Fed decision, so that always comes with a little bit of volatility, a little bit of uncertainty, right? The market really doesn't know where it wants to go, what it wants to do, and so that's the current situation that we have. Just from a standpoint, a price action standpoint, I know many people care about the price day to day, so it's important that we cover that and see what the price of XRP is. The crypto fear and greed and index actually came up yesterday, which was kind of surprising. We had one good day and we jumped 5 points there, or 9 points, sorry. And that was interesting. But again, XRP is still, a lot lower than it was at the beginning of the month, where XRP went up to 240. Right now at 188. Basically, we're back to where we were at the end of the year. Okay. Breaking: President Trump increases tariffs on South Korea to 25% and says the country is not living up to the deal with the US. You can see here, our trade deals are very important to America. In each of these deals, we have created swiftly to reduce our tariffs in line with the transactions agreed to. We, of course, expect our trading partners to do the same. South Korea's legislator is not living up to the deal with the United States. President Lee and I reached a great deal, both countries, on July 30th, 2025, and we reframed these terms while I was in Korea in October 29, 2025. Why hasn't the Korean legislator approved it? So this is a problem with the legislators, the courts in Korea, because the Korean legislator hasn't enacted our historic trade agreement, which is their prerogative. I'm hereby increasing South Korean tariffs on autos, lumber, pharma, and other reciprocal tariffs from 15 to 25. Thank you for attention to this matter. So, of course, every single tariff is important for the US, right? But it's could be a detriment to the markets, right? Every single tariff creates a little bit of tension, a little bit of fear. Of course, famously on October 10th, we had that big crash, post the 100% tariff on China. Of course, the 100% tariff on China is much more influential than a hike from 15 to 25% in South Korea, but we know that XRP is loved by South Koreans, right? Many days, the top exchange for XRP flows is the South Korean exchange Upbit, right? And so when you have a situation like that, and maybe you have some fear in South Korea from South Korean investors, that could be detrimental for the price action of XRP in the short term. So far, we haven't seen any, 4 or 5% drop here for XRP on this news, but this could put a little bit fear in the hearts of South Korean investors in the next coming weeks if this doesn't get rescinded. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Again, if South Koreans feel a little bit pressure, they feel that they need maybe to alleviate assets a little bit, that could. The first one might be XRP because they do trade it so much. So we have to take that into consideration. As always, I just want to remind you that this video is for educational, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before deciding to invest. I do not know day to day what the price of XRP is going to be. Okay, I'm not from the future. Also, remember that I will never contact you on social media asking you to sign up to anything or to send me anything. Those are scammers. Those are imposters. I won't DM you. I won't befriend you. Please be very careful out there. So interesting. There's going to be an XRP Community Day on February 11th with a fireside chat between Brad Garlinghouse and Tony Edward from Thinking Crypto. So they're going to be diving into the macro shift, institutional adoption, and public market, XRP's growth, use in capital markets infrastructure, and longevity, stability, and community underpinning XRP. So this is going to be on February 11th. So put it in your books, right, in your calendars, and it will be very interesting to see what Brad has to say about all this. Ripple is expanding into Saudi Arabia. Ripple partnered with Agile, the innovation and technology arm of Riyadh Bank, has partnered with Ripple to explore blockchain applications for financial services across Saudi Arabia. So Ripple continues to dominate in the Middle East, and we're seeing another partnership here now with a bank from Saudi Arabia. The Gulf countries are significantly investing in the cryptocurrency market, in innovation, and it will be very interesting to see. Ripple has a executive that is for the Middle East, and so they are emphasizing this area. They know that it comes with a great significance, and it will be very interesting to see what kind of things come out of this partnership in the future and how potentially this could be beneficial for XRP. Now, we have been covering the whole situation around silver. Tom Lee says gold and silver. Tom Lee says gold and silver are sucking oxygen out of everything, right? And this is the whole situation right now. People are saying, all the money is going to gold and silver and not to the crypto markets. And I saw a post from Ron from Crypto Banter. He says that he's been in the market since 2017 and he doesn't recall a time when the crypto sentiment was this bad, right? I think that maybe an FTX, right, when we were at the bottom, it was maybe this bad. That could be 2020 when we had that crash. I think it was pretty bearish, right? Bitcoin went from all the way down to 3,000, right after it was at 20,000 at the peak there in 2017. There's been a lot of people kind of forget, right? And here, someone wrote December 2018, when Bitcoin broke it'll never break 6,000 supports. 2020, the crash there in March. 2021 bear market summer. 2022 3-hour capital collapse. 2022 Terra Luna implosion, Celsius implosion, FTX bankruptcy, crypto bank attack on USDC, DPEG event, the August Japan carry trade, and the 2025 tariff dump there in the beginning of the year around February, March, and April. Those times are pretty bad as well. And we forget that there's always these kinds of periods, there's always ups and downs. And Tom says, as long as gold and silver are rising, then there's a FOMO into buying that instead of crypto. When gold and silver take a break, then that would lead to a Bitcoin and Ethereum surge afterwards. We'll have to see, right? Silver had a sell-off last night. It dropped significantly, right? In a very short period of time. People are like, oh, that's the top, right? It dropped 13% in about 4 hours, right? It's lots of volatility. But actually, since then, it has recovered about 10% in the last 13, 14 hours. So silver is still strong at a 112, right? 112. And it will be very interesting to see, where the markets go from here. Silver swung 2 trillion of market cap in 14 hours, right? So the silver market continues to be, very, very volatile, and silver is quite literally throwing around Bitcoin's entire market cap in a matter of hours. The current situation in silver will be referenced for decades to come, right? We're going to think about this going back and how all this money and how it's become so volatile. It's basically like the crypto market, right? Which is kind of, wild. An asset that barely moved for years, is now going on this banana run here. So it will be very interesting to see. Do we have, blow off top here? What happens in the end? Do we have, a pullback maybe to the 50 area, or does this continue to rally on with the silver market, right? It will be very interesting. And we also still have the current situation with the yen. And the yen intervention, last time the US intervened with the yen, it triggered a massive rally into the US stock market from 1985 to 1987. I was 1 year old in 1987. S&P 500 pumped 90%, NASDAQ pumped 63%. Have to remember that there was also a very big crash in these years as well on the market. So the fact that there was a Black Friday, it was called, Um, my dad tells me the story that he called his parents up, and it was an international call, so it was expensive. And the first thing they said, "We heard the markets crash." He says, "Oh, don't worry, it's part of the game." And they ended up rallying after that. The dollar stocks rallied because the dollar was falling and liquidity was expanding. The crash only came later in October of 1987 due to the automated program trading and portfolio insurance. And that's one of the reasons why, by the way, what happened in 1987, October 1987, is because of we have the circuit breakers on the stock market because of what happened there in October of 1987. I was almost a year old. Almost. And so it will be very interesting to see what happens with this whole situation. And we'll know in about a year, I guess, somewhere around that kind of time frame. And it will be very interesting to see where the market goes from here. Don't forget to check out the links in the description down below. Of course, we have this new 30% deposit bonus with BTCC, our partner. If you're interested, if you sign up using my link, I will get a commission and you can trade long, short, whatever your heart desires. Link is in the description down below. Please trade responsibly. Again, I will get a commission. Don't forget to drop a comment, smash that like button, and thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, Novo Cent, let's make a lot of money.